So the big question is this. Why well-being conscious women just like us who want to live healthy and happy life are constantly feeling vulnerable, like, what if I get attacked? And so many people who teach self-defense are attack men or martial artists who don't seem to understand what women really go through every day. How can we feel safer and be more confident in our personal safety? That is the question, and this channel gives you the answer. My name is Kinko Hamilton, and welcome to Rise Up Against Violence. Hi ladies, today I would like to introduce you to Melanie Hystek from Bridge City Martial Arts. Melanie and I came to know each other through the Women's Self-Defense Summit. And it's such a great to have women who are actually in the industry have joined the summit, and we really learn from each other and unite and getting stronger and getting much better. So Melanie is one of those women who participated in a Women's Self-Defense Summit. So Melanie, it's so great to have you. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes. So Melanie, you are big on helping women finding their own voice. What does it have to do with self-defense, Melanie?
Oh my goodness. I think everything, to be honest. I really believe that a lot of women that, especially when that come to a self-defense class, is usually because they've been through something. Something has brought them there. I wish a lot of women would come before it gets to that point. Some do, but a lot of them come with stories. Finding your voice in self-defense is one of my most important things, and the number one thing we work on when people come to class, because a lot of them have come with a story. Some of them have been through childhood trauma or something that happened later in life that brought them there. And I find that a lot of these women at some point, if something has happened to traumatize them, if someone's violated them and not listened to a boundary, they violated a boundary, we lose that voice, right? That's what I find. A lot of them, the hardest thing is shouting, and that's how I test it. Is we start right at the beginning and just finding that hara, right? That deep inner voice, and be able to do it without giggling and laughing, and be able to do it confidently. And that is one of the first things I work out before we really do a lot of stuff. Is I have a male partner that is he's got this intimidating look, which is perfect. And when they're comfortable forward, I will have them even stand in their face and shout. And once they get to that place where they can actually shout back right at them with confidence, without, you know, without giggling even, right? Because it seems to be a natural reaction. I notice for a lot of women is we just want to laugh and stuff, but really engaging that confidence and just shouting right back. Then I notice that after we get it once, and it becomes easier and easier and easier. And to me, that is just like step one. And it's a beautiful thing to watch. I love watching women come out of that shell and actually feel like it's safe, that this man standing there in front of them isn't going to attack them or anything, that it's safe. It's a safe place that I can shout and I can yell. And we really have a lot of fun with that. I encourage them to go home and practice in their car, and just get comfortable with hearing your own voice shouting and yelling.
That is a very interesting way to, I get it. I could feel it already. But it's a very interesting way. And I don't think many people are taking that approach, Melanie. I love it. So is that the solid base that you focus on in your program?
Initially, I do. Yeah. Initially, I really work that. And we always include it into everything we do. And then we start breaking down, different moves and scenarios and stuff like that. But I'm always pushing when we're doing a scenario. I make sure they're always using their voice. They're not just quietly doing it. I'm making sure there's a shout or there's something there all the time, that it's always there. And I always tell women that a lot of times, a lot of attacks are prevented just by our voice, right? So if we can avoid it just by our voice initially off the bat, that's what we want. Like, that's the best self-defense right there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. When you fight back, the number shows like 50% of assailants actually get away.
Yes, I realize that's a thing. Yeah, let them know you're not an easy target.
Absolutely.
This is going to be a fight.
Yeah. So Melanie, what those women shout? So you have a male partner comes just getting to their face and the woman shot at him.
Yeah, well, so I will first start with just a ha, basically that, because I really want to demonstrate the importance of getting not from the throat. I want to hear how it sounds when they do it. And so if they're doing a ha and it's hurting their throat, then I will tell them that that's not right. And we really learn to engage the diaphragm. And so my partner actually demonstrates on me. He'll actually punch me in the gut. And we do this every time. And so I got to be ready for it, but I'm used to it, right? And so he'll give me a punch in the gut and we show that release, that sound that comes out as he does it. And then I'll also demonstrate how I'm able to absorb that. That punch didn't hurt me. It didn't affect me. And he'll do it pretty solid, right? But
Yeah.
because I release that and let that shout out. So we really work on just that. But when we're doing scenarios, it'll change to like back off or leave me alone or get away from me and using actual words. But we do start with just a ha,
Mm-hmm.
just very simple.
And that's amazing because that's something that we can do. Like I can do it right now, right? So we, you know what, Melanie, you practice martial arts, right?
Yeah.
So you practice Shikaran. It's a Filipino style of martial arts.
Yes.
Also, grappling arts, Dumog.
Yeah. Yeah.
During the martial arts, you learn to excel from the belly. Like really, when you're sparring, like you just push it all out and breathe in, right?
Yeah. So important.
That is such a clever way to connect with the what is it, like response in
It
self-defense.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It keeps our energy, it keeps us to be able to go endurance a little bit longer. But
Mhm.
I really think that is one of the most important things, actually. I don't think it's highlighted enough how important that shouting is. And even like when I demonstrate, when he punches me, sometimes getting hit, we are often going to get hurt when you get past that level. If a shout or yelling doesn't work and you're in a situation, you're probably going to get hurt. You have to be expecting and aware of that, but you just hope to get away and as best as you can. But shouting
Mhm.
is going to allow you to absorb even some impact as well. And
Mhm.
so we do a little bit of demonstrating that, and we feel out what the women are comfortable with too, in respect to people having trauma as well. And sometimes that can take a long time for them to get that shout, actually.
Mm. This may be a silly question, Melanie, but yelling uses lots of calories. I mean, keep yelling, wouldn't it exhaust women though? In the
Yes,
actual confrontation, like if you, I understand using verbal de-escalation techniques while, at any point of the confrontation, but to me, keep yelling, keep exhaling my all my energy and doing the to block or whatever to counterattack.
that is
Uh,
such a good question, because really that's not what I want, is them to continue exerting that energy.
yeah,
You aren't going to use as much if it's coming from if it's coming from your chest or your throat. You are using more energy and you're going to get a sore throat and tired out. But if it's coming from your belly, then it's actually going to conserve some of your energy. But I'm not promoting that they're yelling the whole time. This is
right.
just if you can evade that by saying back off, or just shouting really loud. Ultimately, I've read stories about women in parks running and just getting grabbed, and in that moment, in shouting, the attacker ran off, and left them alone, and you're good. So if the shouting and like back off, leave me alone, really loud so people can hear, if that doesn't work, now you're going to preserve your voice and just go into fight mode, right?
Mm,
And so it's not a continuous thing the whole
gotcha.
time. It's an initial thing.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you're big on teaching women to get away or find a way to get away in 3 steps or less. Could
Yeah.
you elaborate on that? Like, what are those 3 steps? Of course, it's going to be different depending on the situation, but is there a framework you teach?
So the the 3 steps or less is the goal, like I say, because usually that's about as much time as you have. Things happen so very quickly, and so I don't want to focus on really fancy techniques, which are great in martial arts when you're training for many years and you have time. But women who may just do one class, maybe 10 session class even, and may not do anything again, they're not going to remember all that. And so we try to break it down. Let's say even just being pushed up against a wall. We try to play out scenarios. I don't want there to be a right or a wrong. We play out different scenarios and we show, you know, three things. We try to think of three moves that you can do to get away. And it's really more engaging the brain in the process and getting them to actually think of what they can do. And we do in the end have a plan, a lesson plan that we are there to demonstrate. But I like to hear how the women think because I want to get them thinking, about what they would do. What would I do? And a lot of them, well, I don't know. Okay, well, we'll show you. Here's what you do. And we do a lot of palm strikes. Definitely, especially in up close. Um, I don't know. Every scenario is going to be different, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Every situation is different because different people involved, different situation, different time of the day, right?
Yeah.
Everything is different. But yeah, okay. So let's talk about palm strikes. Why palm strikes?
I mean, I've been trained punching, so I love punching and I'm comfortable with that. But I have learned that most women are not. Just making a proper fist is a big challenge, right? And so I just decided not to waste a lot of time worrying about how to make a fist and punch. Let's do what comes natural. And now, if women are comfortable punching and they have some sort of background, I think that's great. But a lot of women, I find, especially when they have really long nails, aren't able to make a proper fist. So I have just gone straight into executing the palm strike.
Mhm.
And I find that it can be very effective. It is setting a boundary at the same time. But if you need to escalate into an actual strike and the boundary's not working, right to the nose is a good place that can just give you that snap second for a second move. I never say we stop at one.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things, right? Like when I see uh, women's empowerment, like self-defense empowerment coach versus self-defense coach kind of stuff, and they're just doing palm strikes, and there's no follow-up there, like,
Yeah.
okay, palm strike, great. And what if you missed two and he gets you? Like, there's
Yes.
no follow-up taught in those, like, a lot of classes, right, Melanie?
It's so true. It's like that just stuns. But if you don't have a follow up, you're kind of in bigger trouble, actually, because now they're angry, right? And so that's just a kind of gives you that moment maybe to break a hold or something. It's just kind of an intro to something else.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
yeah,
true.
absolutely. And you say you're very comfortable punching. And
Yeah.
for those, there are people who don't prefer or never punched anybody, right?
Yeah.
But I'm sure there are a lot of women watching this have experienced martial arts. So somebody who wants to use fist, what are the good ways to use fist without, but with a minimal damage to the fist?
Minimal damage to the face. That's a good question because I think using the fist is really when you want to do damage, right? So there isn't a nice way to do it. There isn't really a nice punch in my mind, unless you're playing. So that's probably why I like the palm strike because you can use it with your voice as a back off, or you can use it in a maybe just as somebody who's just drunk and you don't actually want to physically harm them. You can still use it on the nose to enough to make their eyes water and push them back. And then in a really bad scenario, you can also use it and do some serious damage. If you get your hips right into it and thrust up, you can actually do some serious damage. Whereas with a punch, I feel like there is no level one, level two. It's just straight, you're going for the throat. You're going for something quite extreme. You're going for damage. That's how I think of it. Or to the gut, and certainly women that love to punch, I love to get the targets out and just get them that feel because I love watching women. I love watch women release that because if they love to punch and they have no problem and they get that shout, I know they have the confidence. I know they need to just expand on that and really build on that confidence. They're not afraid to use it. That's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Fighting spirits, right? Encourages the fighting spirits to soar, roar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you still practice martial arts? Those
I
arts?
well, I do. I've been off since like November, December. I haven't been since fall, since October actually.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of the shutdowns and everything going on right
Right.
now. I'm finding that a little challenging because it's not the same at home by myself.
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
it is what it is right now.
Right. So like those arts, martial arts you study or practice, did you learn anything valuable for self-defense skills?
I learned a lot of good stuff. Like in my years doing Sikaran, I started off with a different club that I trained with for many years, and actually built in that it was a Filipino term. Dumog is their style of grappling, and that was a separate class that I took. I learned a lot there actually, and it was really good. And I think it inspired me to do what I do, to be honest. It was part of what inspired me because I enjoyed it, but lots of it was very technical. And so all the time I was going home and I was thinking, but the average women couldn't do this. I want to help other women. And so I would take those moves and I would think that's where the three moves or less came from. I would look at these moves that were many different steps. I would think, how can I take this and make it three steps or less? That was always my goal. How can I take this and simplify so any woman could do this in three steps or less? And I still try to always customize and work things into that, type of thinking.
Yeah, you know what? I like that because that one of the arts that I practice, I have 50 moves that I do, right? When somebody comes punch and I have a 50 moves to remember and I can do it. I told my coach, coach too, like, yeah, this is great. And I love to do in competition, but probably not on the street, right?
Yeah.
But those three steps, like you can learn many or maybe several three combos, I would say. Then you
Yeah.
can try this three, and if still not enough, then you can move on to the second step, second combo, or depends on where the attacker is. You can adjust to that, right? Instead of
Yeah.
remembering 50 moves, you can do three, 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 three. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah. It's usually all we can handle at a time anyways, right? And so I figure get
yeah,
really good at those three and then we can add some more. We can take it to the, a next level and expand on that. But
yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea for a woman to start if they have never experienced any martial arts or combat sports or techniques. But I always think about like five or six moves or in any situation. Like that's how I'm trained. So now my focus right now is really to adapt to the situation rather than trying to execute the moves that I know. Does it make sense?
yes. Yeah. Yeah.
That's one of the hardest things as a martial artist found to like kind of let go. Like instead of doing this, like you gotta, you know, really, because it's not dojo, right? Or
Yeah.
it could be, I mean, I train in the woods or mud or water. Like we do street fighting, so we do a lot of things. But like regular
Yeah.
martial arts, you do that in dojo or flat floor.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah, it's good to practice in different scenarios. Actually, that's a really good point going into different environments. We have not done that, but we do take a scenario, even as simple as just an arm grab, right? And we'll take that just standing as is until we get it. But then we'll talk about different scenarios. Well, what if you're sitting on a park bench? And then we'll simulate, we'll get a chair, we'll simulate that you're on a park bench. What if it happens from this angle? What if it happens from here? And so once we get the base of it, then we just play with it. And that's where I say there's no right or wrong. Let's think this through. What would you do? Let's engage our brain, because I don't want people to just think that this is the only way and what if I don't remember. I want them to know that they have the confidence to figure something out very quickly and think very fast on your feet. So we'll play it out slowly, but then I'll have my partner even sneak up on them, where we do that kind of role play, I guess, scenarios where he sneaks up and just puts it into the full, grabs them as if it's really happening, and then see if they can make that reaction. It's so different than when you practice slowly, isn't it?
Yeah, it's totally different, but that's why it's, you got to practice in progressive
Yeah.
resistance. You know, you can't go from baby to grown woman. Same
Yes,
way,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just mentioned that you want to help women to make a decision fast.
Yeah.
What are the things that women can practice at home to make decision faster?
Um, well, getting the confidence, first of all, knowing, because a lot of them, I find a lot of women say too, when I talk about, literally talk about palm striking and talk about, hitting the pressure points, even in the throat, different things. And they'll laugh and say, oh, I can never do that to somebody. I can never hurt somebody like that. And that to me is a barrier that they've got to get past right off the bat. And so this, I don't know if I'm getting off track here, but one of the things I do tell them to practice at home is this surprise attack. Have your partner, I'll say, have your partner like to just like, or your kids, because they'll enjoy doing this, scaring you literally when you come around the corner, jumping out and scaring you, and just practice engaging that instead of being caught off guard. Try to find that voice and get into your self-defense posture, which is our just the basic posture, and finding that voice and see how quickly. Just practice getting into that and shouting. We do that in class too, but it's fun if they can take it at home and have fun with their family in their own environment. Kids, I know mine, I love doing that here. you know
Yeah,
so it's,
mine too. Yeah.
yeah. I
I,
don't know if I even answered the question. I go off topic maybe,
yeah,
but
no. I mean, it's important for us to have fun during training, especially beginning or when you're trying new techniques, right? Because if it's a fun environment, you can like master faster. You can learn faster, right?
yeah, yeah,
So I actually make my kids do it, but I ask my kids to, I have this like for example, like wedge upon defense. Like I have this knife, right? I
yeah,
have my son grab like put it right here, put it right here, put it right here, like it's so different. They love it, they're like, bad guy, I'm not gonna
yeah.
get you. But
Oh,
yeah, but it's good for me to get used to the actual knife, metal, right? And also for them to know like this is gonna really hurt. So you're actually teaching them the importance of sensitivity and importance of how to deal with the edge weapon. And so you teach different like full spectrum of women, right? From baby to toddler, teenager, young adult, senior.
absolutely. Absolutely. I welcome everybody to come. I know a lot of people create their own barriers. I hear that, or I'm too old, or I'm not in shape, or,
Mm.
I'm not fit enough. I'm like, well, you definitely need to be there then. This is for you. And so I try to find ways to encourage women to come. And I have had some women that were not comfortable to practice. And I said, you know what, even if you sit on the sides, I want you to feel the group. I want you to feel I don't know the word I'm looking for, but I just want you to feel empowered by the women together, because we talk together, we share scenarios and stories. And so I have had some women that didn't come and participate, but I had one in particular. She became a really good friend. She just came every single class. She sat on the side and watched. That's all she did. And she would always say, oh, I got so much out of this. I'm like, how? Get in there, get in there. But she felt empowered just by being there with us. And so I don't care if they don't want to participate. Fine, just come and be there. Even watching maybe would help. I hope that she got some things out of it. I know she said she felt empowered and really I think really blessed by just being around the other women and us sharing together. So sharing and caring for each other.
So true. Absolutely. So true. I mean, if she's not ready, the woman who's been watching the class, uh, she'll be ready when the time's right, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's better than nothing. That's how I think. Even if you come, I've had, an older lady and a walker there, watching as well. And I don't always throw in little tidbits out to her. Well, here's something you could do with your walker, like we just kind of joke around, but it's true. There
Tell
there
us,
are
yeah.
always things.
Let's
Yeah,
tell us how you can use your walker to your self defense.
it can create a barrier, can create space for one thing, for sure. Now, if someone's able and they have a cane, they can also use it, because I had, someone else, actually my dad, he wasn't there, but he does use canes. And so I have, you know, uh, played around a little bit with him and the cane. So my dad doesn't walk so good, right? So he is in that demographic where he doesn't have the ability to just get up and do something. He's actually relying on his hands and his upper body strength. And so we have actually talked about different things. Instead of focusing on what you can't do, let's focus on the things that you can do, because that's all you have at the end of the day. And using the canes and looking for pressure points, looking for vulnerable targets. It's better to have something than nothing.
True. Melanie, for cane, you just mentioned that your dad is heavily relying on cane.
Yeah.
So that means he is using one cane, right? And he's probably, if he doesn't have the cane to try use the cane, he'll probably lose his balance, right?
He would use balance. Now he has to use two. He's actually in a power chair, and then sometimes he'll have those if he has to. He uses them sometimes. He doesn't use them a lot. And no, he doesn't always even have them. And sometimes it's just him in the power chair as well. And so I know that over the years I've given him little Kubotans and different things. I don't know if he has those, but we talk about just thinking self-defense. And one of the big things, I'm always, Dad, make sure you always have a phone with you. That's one of the simplest little things, because to me, self-defense isn't just fighting. It's just being prepared, being aware, and having some tools available. Like, he actually did have a fall one time and didn't have a phone handy, and that was not good, actually. And so, just simple little things that we can do to help ourselves, it's important to think about.
Absolutely, Melanie. All right, so I have to ask you this ultimate question, because our interview time is getting to the closer to the end. Yeah. Melanie, what a woman can do to overcome her "what if I get attacked" fear?
Well, the best thing she can do actually is join a class and get a little bit of fitness, because I think lack of fitness really creates objection, or creates a barrier for us. I hear that lots too, is I'm not fit enough. I say, well, then maybe you need to do some stretching. Like, it's never going to hurt. I don't care what shape you're in. You can stretch. You can do some things to take care of your body, to make yourself a little more limber and aware. And I think that's really important. And knowing that you have some things, not thinking about what you can't do, and focus on what you can do. Playing out scenarios in your mind. I think that would be the number one thing. Always thinking, when you're going out somewhere, having a backup plan, using your awareness at all times. We do it in our family all the time. Sometimes my kids think I'm insane, but everywhere we go, if we go to, not that there's anything happening now, busy events like concerts and stuff, but we don't leave the house until we have a plan. I talk about a few what ifs. What if this happens? What if that happens? Where would you go? If we had to evacuate a building, let's say everybody had to leave and you couldn't find me, where would we go? Like, we literally talk and plan these things out. It's a little over the top in my house from the average person, probably, but just engaging that mindset and having some sort of plan. When you go into a place, do you know where the exit is? Like, just little things, and just training your mind to think that way all the time, I think is really important.
Yes, and you are actually teaching your children how to think and how to value their personal safety. So sooner the better, earlier the better. And we really, mothers, women, have to take a responsibility to teach our children.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's important, especially for our children. Yes. So I think they're vulnerable, very vulnerable. And even just getting lost at a fair, we always have a meeting place. We have a plan, she's got a phone number somewhere where no one can see it. We cover all bases. But not to the point that you want to become paranoid, right? Or crazy or anything like that. But it's just being smart.
Yep, totally agree. All right, Melanie, thank you so much for joining the show today. I learned a lot, and I believe audiences did as well. So thanks again, and talk to you soon.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Would you like to get the advices from the world's top self-defense experts? If so, go on and get your pass from www.womensselfdefensesummit.com.